Alright, welcome back, guys. This is Luke, aka Keyar's Taylor. Um, we're doing continuing our part uh, setup for our videos. It's a part series that I decided to do to kind of help out healing espers out there and make it a little easier to view because it will be broken up in parts, obviously. As opposed to doing like an hour and a half video like I did before. Anyway, in this video, we'll be covering my last kind of all heal setup. I have a hybrid setup that I'm going to be showing in the next video. Spoiler alert. Um, so yeah, maybe we'll learn a little something. And I will tell you this, that this this build is probably the worst out of the three. It's also because the reason I think it's worse is because it's hard to position Mirage to make it very useful. Um, so anyway, let's dive right in. Nothing really has changed if you watched my last videos to the setup at all, as far as tiers and abilities, other than taking Phantasmal Armor out and putting Mirage down. So I'll basically just talk about Mirage and then touch on my thoughts about this video. I'm going to make it real short. Um, uh, so anyway, moving right in. Mirage, what is it? It's a ground-targeted casted spell that, puts this little fishies down. And when an injured ally walks into the fishes, they receive healing. And then the tier 4 does, which what I would be running is, if I ever run it, Mirage, it basically restores a class-specific resource to whichever class ran over it. So, say for example, an engineer who was injured ran into a Mirage, they get 25 volatility. An Esper gets 2 side points. A medic gets 1 actuator. Spellslingers get 1 spell power. Stalkers get suit power, 30 suit power. Warriors get 250 kinetic energy. So that's what the tier 4 does. Now, what does it look like? Now, the biggest problem I have with this ability is that, like I stated earlier, you have to click on the ability and choose where to place it. You see my telegraph moving around there. So say I place it there. Now the target, if they can see it, which in this background and kind of setup, they can see it pretty clearly. But in other setups, like that are a little bit more color, it doesn't stand out. Basically, it's harder to see, and if you don't place it in the proper position and say all your group members move over here somewhere, then obviously you're not getting used to it. So learning to place this in good positions is what makes this build work really well. Especially like in a raid comp with stalkers. Like stalkers and warriors, they really benefit a ton from tier 4 Mirage because of the amount of class resource it gives them. I'd probably say stalkers are the best as far as this build is concerned for helping them with that spell. But again, like I said, you have to place it in positions that they can get it. Otherwise, it's not really as useful. But yeah, that's essentially what it does. From drop 3 to drop 4, what happened basically was that they reduced the cast time of Mirage so that it was 2.5 seconds, I believe, and it cost a little bit more focus. and it healed for a lot more. But with drop 4, it's shorter cast time, lower amount healed, and it just had the ability to give people class specific resource if you tiered it up, or if you the tier 8 of it is now a hot. So anyway, that's what that spell is. Like I said, nothing really changed with my setup other than bring in Mirage. But I'll talk about them real quickly. Bolster is a heal over time. It's primarily used for side point generation. Reverie is our spender. Obviously, you want to get as close to 5 side points as possible to get the most healing out of this ability. Soothe is you have to kind of aim the telegraph onto your allies to heal them, but it heals you and 4 other allies. One thing I forgot to mention with Reverie is it heals 10 allies, including yourself. So 5 and 10. Let's see. Mirage I already kind of talked about at great length already, so moving on to Pyrokinetic Flame. Again, this ability is casted on an enemy target. Creates a field if it lands and hits them around that target to heal and do damage in that field. So the tier 4 advantage of this ability is huge, is massive actually. Increases the assault and support power by 6% for 4 seconds. It's very easy to keep this up 100% of the time. Especially now with the change from you having to cast it every time to now being instant cast above 2 side points. It just makes it, so much easier to keep it up 100% of the time. So yeah, that covers all the healing abilities with this build. Well, I suppose you could put Fixation as a healing ability. But what Fixation is it reduces cooldowns, all cooldowns, by 60% and generates 3 side points. I tier forward it for the focus region it gives you. It essentially gives you 120 focus every 48 seconds, so that's pretty freaking nice. The Esper, and I mentioned this in other videos, the Healing Esper is a cheap, focused healing class that has the ability to still do a ton of healing, especially burst healing. And now with the recent changes, some sustained healing as well. So it's a pretty strong class, and you don't need a ton of focus region to make it work, as opposed to the other classes. If you watch my stat priority video that I did recently, it'll tell you that. But anyway, that's Fixation. And what it does, the last 2 limited action sets, I would definitely consider putting an interrupt in one of them, and then leaving the other one totally open to allow you, if you need a movement ability, get Projected Spirit. If you need to have a cleanse in the fight, Catharsis. CC Break, Fade Out. If you need a root, like Omna ads are pretty nice to use this on. Roots them to allow your raid to kill them quicker, or give them more time to kill them. So, or you could, let's see, if you needed more stuns, you could put Shockwave or Crush, totally dependent on you, what you need. So, again, out of the 3 full healing builds that I've covered so far, this is, like, as I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's very difficult to the guys are watching me, but guys, stop it. But have some fishes. um, but as I stated before, like, and I'll say again, this setup it takes a lot of learning to position those mirages in good positions to allow usefulness of them. So if you're not positioning them right, um, they they then you're not going to make really good use of the spell, and you might as well not have it on your bar in the first place. But I'm very interested in continuing to try to learn this setup a little better and make good usefulness of it. But yeah, in the meantime, my next build I'm going to do real quick, and I'm going to take a break for the day because I've been recording all day. Well, not all day, probably for the past 2 hours. Is a hybrid setup, so if you're interested in learning that, pop on in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Peace out.